Every adaptation changes something. Some turn Frankenstein into the villain, others turn the creature into a joke, and some reduce the story to lightning, labs, and screaming mobs. But Guillermo del Toro does something that most adaptations forget to do. He remembered that Frankenstein is a tragedy. Not a horror story about a monster, but a tragedy about loneliness, responsibility, and what happened when creation is lost. For decades, adaptations have kind of missed the point of Mary Shelley's story. Some paint the creature as this mindless being driven only by instinct, and others entirely focus on Victor Frankenstein as this genius and mad scientist instead of portraying him for what he really is, a neglectful human being. And somewhere along the way, the emotional core of the story gets lost because Frankenstein isn't about destruction. It's about a being who desperately wants connection, and it keeps being rejected by the world that created him. Hollywood simplifies Victor as this cartoon genius gone wrong, and the creature is just negated to this Halloween costume. Stitched head, flat hair, and the punchline at best. That's the tragedy of it. I ended up changing my camera angle and turning on the light. You don't care, but it's the small things. We'll get right to it. Toro understands something very crucial. A. He understands the creature is the victim. The creature is not evil. He's intelligent, he's emotional, he's self-aware. And in a novel, the creature reads, he thinks, he feels pain more deeply than any other character in the story. And if you look at Toro's filmography, all of it really makes sense. The Shape of Water, Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth. Del Toro has always empathized with the monsters. He doesn't treat them as things to be feared, he treats them as beings to be understood. His monsters aren't villains, they're mirrors of pain. So instead of asking how scary can I make this creature, he asks how much suffering can the audience feel with him. And that changes just about everything. B. He keeps the gothic tragedy intact. Del Toro doesn't strip Frankenstein down to just a spectacle. He leans into the heavy themes: abandonment, parental responsibility, identity, and isolation. In Shelley's story, the monster isn't terrifying because he's big, he's strong, he's manic. He's terrifying because he's alone. Del Toro uses horror in the same way Shelley did, not to push the audience away, but to bring them closer. The fear isn't about what the creature will do, it's about what the world has done to him. C. His visual style matches Shelley's tone. Even just from the trailers and the promotional material, you can feel the difference. Cold, candlelit, European setting, a world that feels old, fragile, decaying. The creature's design looks patchwork, but still unmistakably human. This isn't the green-skinned cartoon character that's being stitched from grief. He's being stitched from grief, not lightning. I messed up right there, but we ain't gonna talk about it. There's no campy electricity spectacle, just melancholic beauty. It feels like a gothic novel brought to life, not a theme park ride. D. He leans into the philosophy. Mary Shelley didn't write Frankenstein just to scare people. She wrote it as a warning about playing God, a story about responsibility, a metaphor for being rejected by your creator. In Toro's entire career circle those same ideas. His films are about misunderstood monsters, found family, outsiders searching for love. So when Toro adapts Frankenstein, he's not forcing meaning into the story, he's continuing a conversation he's been having his whole life. Right? There's a little evidence. Toro's story only works if the actors show restraint. This cast does. Actors known for internal emotional performances, faces that can hold guilt and longing without a single line of dialogue. In this movie, Victor isn't played like a mad scientist. He's played like a man slowly collapsing under the weight of his choices. And choosing Oscar Isaac for that role was an amazing choice. A lot of Isaac's roles we see him in, and whether it's a blockbuster or a grounded movie, he plays characters with such emotional depth and he does it amazing. And him playing Victor was no less than amazing. Jacob Elordi plays the creature, and he doesn't play him like a stunt or a spectacle. He plays him like a wounded soul, someone learning how to exist in a world that refuses to accept him. Elordi brings such a depth to this character and humanity to the creature. He balances the creature's naivety and anger all at once, grapples the grief of envy of the creature without making it feel like it's unbelievable. He's for sure the standout performance of this movie. Not only is his acting amazing, his physical stature adds to his character. He literally towers over the cast. I don't know how tall this man is, but he's like super tall. Supporting characters aren't just background noise, they reinforce the story's themes. Fear of the unknown, cruelty masked as righteousness, love offered too late. The cast grounds the film in humanity, so the monster never feels less human than the people around him. Del Toro's adaptation lines up with the novel in ways older films couldn't. The creature's intelligence, his ability to think, feel, and speak, his longing for family, not dominance, not revenge, just belonging. The confrontation between Victor and the creature isn't hero versus villain, but creator versus abandoned child. And above all, the theme is abandonment. Victor doesn't just make a monster, he makes a life, then refuses to take responsibility for it. That's the real horror of the story, and Toro understands that. It mirrors a lot of today's problems with parents abandoning children, specifically the fathers, and it hits home for a lot of people, and I feel like that's why a lot of people genuinely love the story of Frankenstein. Frankenstein was never about a monster, it was about humanity's fear of what it creates, and its refusal to care for it afterwards. Guillermo del Toro understands that, and that's why his Frankenstein doesn't feel like just another adaptation. It feels like the version Mary Shelley would have won. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay blessed, stay safe out there. We out.